everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back. If you've watched my videos before, I'm Melanie and I do a variety of videos like I always say at the start of every video. My predominant video has been and still is vlogs, which currently I do weekly vlogs, and I do what I call my other content on Tuesday and Sunday, which is anything from review videos, unboxing videos, story times, experience type stories. I try products and let you know what I think about them. I've talked about my skincare routines, I've done decluttering videos and that type of thing. The last time you would have seen me do a Tuesday or Sunday video like this would have been Christmas, when I did 3 or 4 Christmas videos. One where I talked about my best Christmas present ever, what I wanted for Christmas that year, and I did a story time I think when I almost died in Turkey, but I don't believe I've done a face on video for Sunday or Tuesday this year so far. So here I am with a face on, or a full on video like where you can see my face. That's not making sense. So this video, as the title may suggest, is a update of my hair. So I think the first one went up in July and the second one was November. I believe I did 2 in November. Oh, and if I'm more lit over there and I've got it looks like I've got creases under my eyes, it's the light. And it's like 8 o'clock at night. I can't really do anything other than use artificial light, and where I've placed it isn't very flattering, but I don't have the time to just like mess around with it. So I'm going to quickly break down my hair history. So I've always liked my hair to be a certain length. I like it to be about that much under my bra strap, you know, the strap that goes across the bottom, so about that much underneath it. I'm happy with that length. Like, I would have it longer, but you kind of have to draw the line somewhere, so I would happily have it that length, and I'd have some layering to the front but not much, and I always have a fringe. Unless it needs cutting, then it's always pushed to one side. And about early last year I noticed that my hair was starting to snap, and I had pieces like literally up there, and at the time I had blonde on the top and then I had a middle layer underneath, like in the middle of a dark brown, and then I had blonde underneath that, and the top blonde was snapping, so you could see blonde to there and then you'd see this big chunk of brunette or dark brown, and it just looked stupid. So I went to the hairdressers and I had the brown taken out. It was dyed out, and I had my hair cut. I had a few inches off, nothing too dramatic. She just tidied it up a little bit because I literally had a layer all the way around that was about that long. And we don't know what snapped my hair. I wasn't doing anything extreme to it. I wasn't dyeing it at home. I wasn't having a lot of bleach put on it. I wasn't having anything done. Obviously it was blonde, but I would just have like a scalp bleach, which is just whatever roots you've got, and that was it. And eventually, like sort of June, July time, it was just snapping and snapping and snapping, and it looked like I had a bit of a mullet, to be honest. I had my short layers, like I've always got a layer around this length, and then I had the shorter layers up here which you couldn't see when it was brushed, but it just looked like all this was this length, and then it had some hair at the back that was the normal length, and it looked really ridiculous. No matter what I did with my hair, it just looked wrong. So I went to the hairdressers and I was like, my hair's snapping, it doesn't look right, what do you think? And she's like, oh god, it's really snapping. And she didn't know why, because she was like she couldn't understand. She was like, we don't bleach your hair, we just do your roots, like I don't know what's going on. Is it your medication? And I'm like, no, I'm not really on it. I wasn't really on it for anything at the time, and what I was on, I've been on for years, and a side effect isn't your hair snapping, basically. So she was like, I'm going to have to cut some of it. And that would be the first video I filmed. I literally, because when I had my hair done, I also had threading done, and it kind of messed my makeup up, so I went and packed up somewhere and I did my makeup, and then I filmed the video, and you can see how short my hair was and how there wasn't that much to it. It was thin because it had snapped, and even though, because it had originally snapped up there, by that point the snap bits were about there, it just didn't look good. It didn't look full. It just, you know, and I was really sad when I was at the hairdresser's, because at first she was like, I'm going to have to cut a lot off it. And I was like, I don't really want you to. And I'm like, I knew you was going to cut a lot off it because I know how it looks. I know the state of it. I've been living with it like this for a little while, and you know, I knew you would want to cut a certain amount off. And I was like, cut off the bare minimum that you think I can get away with and dry it, and if you still think I need more off, then do it. And I literally thought I was going to end up with a long bob. I literally thought it would all be about this length all the way around. And I was kind of mortified because I like my hair to be a certain length for certain reasons, and I was like, I don't want a long bob, I don't want that. But if it had to be done, it had to be done, because if you want to make your hair healthy again and help it grow and it not to look stupid, then you obviously need what you need. You need to do what you need to do, basically. But I wasn't happy at all about it. And then she cut it and she's like, oh, you're lucky you don't need as much off as I was going to take off. So I left, and obviously I filmed that video, and I was actually quite devastated about it, even though I knew for the couple of weeks leading up to it, I knew she was going to take a lot off. It was sad because I like my hair to be a certain length. It gives me more confidence. I feel more confident with it being a longer length, and I'm happier with it being a longer length. And it's just me, like, everyone has the hair a certain way, and if they can't have it that way, they're not going to be happy, do you know what I mean? And it's a big part of me. Like, I hide behind my hair a lot when I'm anxious and stuff, and I just like it to be a certain length, and it knocked my confidence, and it just made me not want to leave the house. I felt horrible. I felt, you know, and no one actually said anything to me. No one's like, oh, you've had a lot of your hair cut off, because I had some cut off, you know, a few months previous, because when I went in and it was all like, she'd cut off about 4 inches then, and when she did that second cut, she cut about 5 inches off, 4 or 5 inches off, but people didn't notice it as much, and no one really commented. Like, I was the one telling people, and I was actually meant to talk to my doctor about it, because my hairdresser did think at one point it could be something, you know, like medical related, but I didn't believe that at that point. I just didn't. So as we went from then to my next appointment, I had my next appointment, I think it was like the 2nd of November. So I went something like 14 weeks. So it was all of October, September, August, and some of July. It was about 14 weeks. So I went and had my hair dyed and had a toner on, had my roots done, had a toner on. And when she was doing the toner, she ran out of toner, and she'd only done to about there. So she was combing my hair quite aggressively to get the toner to spread down. And she'd already cut my hair by that point, because she cut it after it was washed the first time, after I'd had my roots done. It got washed, and then she cut it then. And she was being quite aggressive with the comb, you know, trying to get it to spread down. And because it was drying, as it was on like a while, she was finding it hard to like comb it, and she was really aggressive. And I came home and I looked at my hair in the mirror and I filmed, and I was absolutely mortified, because I went in and my hair was probably about 2.5 inches longer, because it had grown about that in 14 weeks. And she'd only took about 1 inch off, but the ends of my hair was so badly damaged. It was all split and all bitty. And I filmed a video straight away, and I showed it in the video. And I was like, I was really sad. I'm like, I'm going to have it cut again, like, next week. It's a mess. I can't live with my hair like this for the next 12 weeks. So I went in the following week and booked an appointment for 2 days later. And I was like, look at the ends, they're a mess. And she never said anything, but I knew she'd caused it by combing it the way she combed it, because she'd run out of product. And she didn't even manage to get the product all the way down my hair. She had to go and get another toner and mix it in. So then, because it was like spread out very thinly, it basically washed out after 2 weeks. So I paid all that money to get it toned and it washed out. So I went back in and she heavily cut it. She cut some bits in the front, and she tried to keep as much as she could, but basically it wasn't any longer than it was the last time I had it cut. So those 14 weeks where I grew about 2.5 inches of hair, and I was really like, I'd actually noticed that it'd grown, like probably about a week or two before my appointment, before that second appointment. Then I kept noticing it in the mirror. I'm like, oh, I'm sure that's grown. Because you don't really notice your hair growing, but when it grows a certain amount and it's like totally different, it's like, oh yeah, it's grown. So I did notice it, and then obviously I went in and had that second haircut, and you could tell it hadn't grown. The only bit she didn't cut was like, you know, they were growing down. Obviously still like a year later, they're not all the way down, but they're obviously grown. So it did look fuller than it did. And it looked healthier than it did the last haircut, the one in July. But it still, you know, wasn't long. So I booked my next appointment, which was just a fringe cut, just before Christmas. I had my fringe cut and I had my threading in for, I think it was the 9th of February, so it was 12 weeks between haircuts, or 13. 12 weeks between haircuts. I was going to try and leave it 14 weeks, but I just thought, because I knew I needed my fringe doing, because I had my fringe cut a few days before Christmas, I knew I would desperately need it doing by that point. So I went and I had my roots done, and then I had 2 different hair colours, 2 sets of blonde. You can't really tell, there's 2 lots of blonde, but it is slightly darker there. If the camera's picking up, you'll see that's darker than that. But really, I could have just had 1 blonde, because it looks like it's all the same blonde all over my hair. Wouldn't let her tone it because of what happened last time when she heavily combed it and snapped all my hair and she didn't have enough toner. I'm happy with the hair colour. It's very light, like it wasn't this light on the colour chart. So I don't know if she left it on too long. I think she did, because I actually nearly fainted and had to go and sit in the beauty room for half an hour. So I think I potentially had it on a little bit too long, but it's took really well to my hair and I'm happy with the colour. She cut it. She said she cut about 1 centimetre off. I don't know if that's true or not, because I didn't look, because I didn't feel well. I just didn't pay any attention. I just said I don't want it off here because this isn't quite the length I like. I want it to kind of touch me, do you know, like be there. So she just trimmed the back. Yeah, and my fringe. She's made it a bit wider again, which I don't like when she does this. Next time I go, she'll miss that bit and it'll start growing. It'll get back to there and then she'll cut it again. But I'm happy. I'm happy with the colour, or colours as it's meant to be. And this is the length. So during the course of this video, you would have seen the other hair videos that I've filmed, and you'll see that it is fuller, it is longer. But it's not as long as it was, obviously, because I had about 11 inches off last year. I reckon it grew about 2 inches between the last appointment and this one, and I reckon she's cut maybe 1 off. So it is longer. It is growing, because as you can see, they were up there a year ago, and it is looking fuller. I'm happy with how full it's actually looking. It is thinner on this side naturally anyway, probably because I sleep on that side, but it is looking better than it did. I've not really done anything to it for this video. Like, I straightened it this morning. It's now going up for 8:30 at night. There are a little bits here that could have done with a better trim, but you know, I'm going around 12 weeks between appointments as well. Hair grows about 6 inches a year, so in 12 weeks it's going to grow about 1.5, and I don't mind her cutting 1/2 inch off every time if she really has to. But you know, I'm just going to be growing it this year continuously. I don't put heat on it all the time. If I'm going out a second day, like if I washed it today like I did, I won't put heat on it again tomorrow. The only reason I would put heat on a second day in a row is if it was really messy, or it was stuck up in all sorts of directions, or I was going to an important meeting or appointment and I wanted to look okay. But I'm not gonna do too much heat on it. I want it to grow. I don't want it to snap. We don't understand why it was snapping. We don't know what happened. We don't know if it's health related or if it was a medication, but I wasn't on anything at that time that would cause this, and I'm not on anything now that would cause it either. So it wasn't stress because I've been more stressed. We just really don't know what's caused it, and it would make my life easier if I knew what caused it so I could avoid it. But you know, I'm on vitamins. I've been on vitamins a long time. I don't know what's going on, but obviously I'm happy that it's growing. It is looking fuller at the moment. I have just had it done a week and a half ago, and I do like it. It is fuller. It is looking healthier. It looks better for this haircut than it did before I went, and I think it's because it's all getting to a good length now, so it's going to look better. But you know, I am going to keep growing it. I do want it to be a certain length. I would be happy if I got it to a certain length by the end of the year. You know, we're nearly at March. We've got like a week worth of February left. You know, so if it got to become a bra strap before the end of the year, I'll be happy. And yeah, I don't do anything to it. She got me that hair treatment spray, the hair protection spray, heat protection spray. I've still got some of that left, and I use it every time I do my hair. I use a really nice conditioner. I try to do a deep conditioner at least once a fortnight, and I do put some oil on it every now and then. I don't want to put loads of oil on it. I don't want it to get greasy, but oil does actually work. I've used argan oil in the past. Moroccan oil is the best. And when I was growing it once before, a few years ago, because it got badly damaged because of hair extensions, I was using this oil and my hairdresser was like, oh my god, what are you putting on it? It's really helping. So I think that's what I need to do. I think I need to get a Moroccan oil and put a little bit on every time I dry my hair. And yeah, that's my update. If you have any questions about anything that I've talked about during this video, then please feel free to leave them down below. But hopefully I've kind of covered everything during the course of this video. I will be back when I next get my hair cut in, I don't know when. I know I've made the appointment. Oh no, I haven't made the appointment. I've made my next fringe cut appointment. Then I'll make my hair appointment at that. I know it's not looking as amazing as it could. It has rained today, so my hair's not looking fabulous, but I'm happy, and I can tell it's grown. Like I can see the growth when I look in the mirror and stuff, but you know, it's still got a long way to go, but it's doing better than it did. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, click the bell notification button to get an alert every time I upload a video. I will be back soon, and thank you for watching, everyone.